All right, let's talk about the Chicago Bears and what do they do now? So obviously they have, been in kind of a long rebuild at this point, but what they've done a good job of is acquiring resources. They're in a bit of a bowl is most useful when it is empty right now situation. Talk about their cap space. You see they currently have $66 million in estimated cap space and $102 million in estimated cash to spend on players if they want to go over the salary cap. Not sure if they'll do that right now when they're in a rebuild. But again, it's weird because they're in a unique scenario where they have the first overall pick, but also weren't terrible last year. They finished off around 500, just a little below 500. So there's, maybe they could spend a little bit more over the cap than you would typically expect from a team that's drafting first overall. So that's where they're at in terms of money. Now, again, sometimes the cap space and cash is a bit misleading because you see a team when I made this video for Tampa Bay, it's like, oh my God, they have all this cap space and cash, and then you look at their free agents and say, oh, well, you're actually not in a great situation because you got to, re-sign all those guys. Well, how are the Bears? You see, these are a few of their key free agents. Really, they're okay outside of, Jalen Johnson's the one. You would like to keep Darnell Mooney, too. I think, if he's only, the number next to them is how much projected millions of dollars they would get, and I think, if he's getting $9 million, I'd like to keep him in the building for that much, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Jalen Johnson feels like he has to stay, and if you franchise tag him, then that's what you do, but you can't let a guy like Jalen Johnson walk. You just, the season he had, no way. You have to keep him in the building, I think. So, and again, they have the money to do it, and they don't have a ton of these aren't all the free agents, just kind of the biggest, most notable ones. They should still have a good amount of cap space outside of this, where they could go out and acquire a free agent, maybe some help for Caleb Williams, who a lot of people are assuming they will draft first overall, although that's not what they have to do. But if they do draft Caleb Williams first overall, I wouldn't be shocked. I actually think they could be a sleeper Mike Evans team who might be in the open market. Go out and pay him big money. Would he want to go to a rebuilding team is the question. But, make him say no, essentially. If T. Higgins hits the open market, make him say no. I think adding another receiver could go a long way. But again, a lot of teams are going to be trying to add the receivers that are available. Will they be able to get them? There is the other thing, which is their draft capital. These are the picks they have in the upcoming draft. So they don't have a ton of picks, only 6 picks, but obviously those top 2 are pretty key ones. The first overall pick and their own 9th overall pick. So 2 top 10 picks, including the first overall pick. That's pretty good. That's pretty good value. And again, you can go out and get I think what I would do is, if you like a quarterback, go out and get the new quarterback. Even if you like Fields, it's just the kind of situation where I don't know if Fields is he going to become the top of the line, like Patrick Mahomes style quarterback? That I'm not so sure about at this point. I think it's fair to say I would bet against it. For me personally, I would. And so if he's not going to do that, well, soon he's going to have to start getting paid. And do you want to pay a quarterback who is solid, but maybe not a superstar? Probably not. I'd rather restart the cycle on a guy who maybe could be a superstar, and it could be a franchise-altering decision, is the way I look at it. People always look at these, the quarterback situation as well, we don't want to let someone go. We don't want to let someone walk out the door. But again, you should simply look at it as what would we rather have? Justin Fields with 1 year of a rookie deal left, or Caleb Williams with a full 4-year and a 5th-year option of a rookie deal left. You'd rather have probably the Caleb Williams situation. So number 9, you could use to kind of help out the situation. So you have draft capital there. They don't have a ton of middle picks. Again, they don't have a ton of picks in general, but no second-round pick. They use that for the Montez Sweat situation, which again makes sense. I think you look at that trade, and I defended it at the time. A lot of people didn't like it, but I think it makes a lot more sense once you look at this is why it makes sense, right? Because they have draft capital, they have cap space, but they just needed a player. You need to make sure you can go out and get someone. Sure, if he hit the open market and you didn't have to give up a draft pick, that would have been better, but was he going to hit the open market? I don't know. The other thing about the draft capital is it's not set in stone. You can get more draft capital, and they have a pretty good piece if they do decide to go out and get Caleb Williams. I used the PFF mock draft simulator just to kind of fiddle around with what they think a Justin Fields trade could get. They say that the Washington Commanders would probably accept a this trade where they would be giving up pick 36 and 101, so a late third and an early second to get Justin Fields. I mean, that's extra draft capital, right? So you basically could get back what you lost in the Montez Sweat trade, and maybe even get a little bit more value than what you lost in the Montez Sweat trade, at least around the same amount of value, I would assume. So I do think there are going to be teams that really want to get Fields, these quarterback needy teams that, I think that's something they'll pay attention to for sure. So you should be able to, again, look at what Sam Darnold got in the open market. Someone's going to trade for Fields. Someone's going to do that. So, okay, a lot of cap space, a lot of draft capital, great situation, and they were decent last year. Well, they won a decent amount of games last year. If you look at the Pro Football Focus chart, this is where they ranked in each positional category according to PFF, and you start to wonder how the hell did they win as many games as they did. Passing ranked 24th, receiving was solid 18th, so that's was a black hole for many years. It was not last year with the addition of DJ Moore, but still could be room for improvement, especially if Mooney walks. Blocking wasn't ideal, wasn't trash though. Running was good. Part of that was Fields, obviously. Run defense was not good. Pass rush was not good. Coverage was good, but again, a lot of that was Jalen Johnson. Have to make sure you keep him. And it should be mentioned that the run defense and pass rush did get a lot better once Sweat got there, but he only got there midway through the season. That's their full season grade. So there's a lot of issues that they need to be fixed for sure. To me though, if you're drafting a quarterback first overall, what you're doing is trying to develop the quarterback, right? Yes, it'd be cool if your defense is awesome too. You don't put no resources into that, but if you have a finite amount of resources, I think you pump those into your offense. You try to give Caleb Williams as good of a situation as possible. You don't want the Justin Fields situation where you basically wasted years of his evaluation because you just didn't, have a situation around him to be able to evaluate him or not. I think you create a good situation around him and see how it goes. So again, to reiterate, kind of the final page here, cap space, $66 million, cash $102 million, and the cost to re-sign all their free agents that I put on their list, all four of them, would be $25 million. So they're going to have some cash left over. They're going to have some money left over. No denying that. But what you also don't want to make sure you do is the Jacksonville Jaguars thing where, I feel like a bunch of times they've gone out and just paid big money to a bunch of free agents, and it worked that one year where they made the conference championship game, but that's pretty much the only time it worked. I feel like they've done it like 6 times, and usually it results in if you make 3 big contracts, you hit on one is okay but overpaid, and then one just completely sinks you, and now you're screwed for years to come. Like, you can't do that either. You have to spend wisely, but again, I do kind of wonder if you go out and get a big name free agent, wide receiver, something like that. But yeah, where do the Bears go from now? That's kind of what I think and where I think they're at. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What would you do if you're in the Bears' shoes? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.